वस्तावैया रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया।
मैंने दिल तुझको दिया, मैंने दिल तुझको दिया,
ओ रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया।
मैंने दिल तुझको दिया, मैंने दिल तुझको दिया,
ओ रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया।
तेरी आंखों में ये दुनियादारी न थी, तेरी आंखों में ये दुनियादारी न थी।
तू और था तेरा दिल और था, तेरे मन में ये मीठी कटारी न थी, तेरे मन में ये मीठी कटारी न थी।
मैं जो दुख पाऊं तो क्या, आज पछताऊं तो क्या, मैं जो दुख पाऊं तो क्या, आज पछताऊं तो क्या।
मैंने दिल तुझको दिया, मैंने दिल तुझको दिया, ओ रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया।
देश में तेरे परदेश में सोने चांदी के बदले में बिकते हैं दिल, सोने चांदी के बदले में बिकते हैं दिल।
इस गाँव में दर्द की छाँव में प्यार के नाम पर ही धड़कते हैं दिल, प्यार के नाम पर ही धड़कते हैं दिल। चांद तारों के तले रात ये गाती चले,
चांद तारों के तले रात ये गाती चले।
मैंने दिल तुझको दिया, मैंने दिल तुझको दिया,
ओ रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया।
वस्तावैया रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया।
मैंने दिल तुझको दिया, मैंने दिल तुझको दिया,
ओ रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया।
याद आती रही, दिल दुखाती रही, अपने मन को मनाना ना आया हमें, अपने मन को मनाना ना आया हमें। तू ना आए तो क्या, भूल जाए तो क्या, प्यार करके भुलाना ना आया हमें, प्यार करके भुलाना ना आया हमें। वहीं से दूर से ही तू भी ये कह दे कभी, वहीं से दूर से ही तू भी ये कह दे कभी, मैंने दिल तुझको दिया, मैंने दिल तुझको दिया,
ओ रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया।
मैंने दिल तुझको दिया, मैंने दिल तुझको दिया,
ओ रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया।
रास्ता वही और मुसाफिर वही, एक तारा न जाने कहाँ छुप गया, एक तारा न जाने कहाँ छुप गया। दुनिया वही, दुनिया वाले वही, कोई क्या जाने किसका जहां लुट गया, कोई क्या जाने किसका जहां लुट गया। मेरी आंखों में रहे कौन जो मुझसे कहे, मेरी आंखों में रहे कौन जो मुझसे कहे, मैंने दिल तुझको दिया, मैंने दिल तुझको दिया।
ओ रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया वस्तावैया, रमैया
he's come into more his own nature. You can see the romantic overwhelms. I never thought he really had a great, deeply socialistic streak in him. But like all compassionate, caring human beings, the injustice in the country deeply bothered lots. But now you can see he's found love, or he's finding love, and the whole romantic energy of his cinema takes over, though that sense of iniquity is still there. So this is that period where Chori Chori follows this. Tell us, how will you sort of, because this is one, for me, one of the most idealistic in that naive, traditional way. Naive not in a negative sense.
No, as I said, for me, what is most fascinating about this phase, it continues up to 1965 in Hindi cinema. And Raj Kapoor is a pioneering presence, as is Gurudutt and many others, actually. But these two names come to my mind immediately. I am, within this period, the idea of the city outside, and I see that city outside as a multiple singularity. If you're looking at this song, then there is a clear division of a world from where Raj Kapoor has come.
If you know, the scene before this is Natira's big party.
Yes.
He's leaving that party.
Yeah, absolutely. And the life, which is actually, where is home? That's a very essential question. And what is the nature of happiness? All that you see here is happening on the street, and there are people who are trying to give structure to a sense of being together in an idealized way, of course. He's written a song which is creating a very clear definitional division between that country and this. And this country is a kind of ephemera. It's a kind of, it's not as yet come into existence. And this keeps happening in the earlier cinema of Raj Kapoor again and again. And for me, this becomes very, there is one information that I want you to give us, which is, what is Zora Sehgal in any way involved in this song? No. It is the other fellow who would come from Andhra, the choreographer.
This song was
Satyanarayan.
Satyanarayan is from where?
This is a Telugu song.
Telugu, of course. Ramaiya. So that will be.
Shankar.
Yeah. Okay. Shankar Jaikishan.
Originally, although he was a UP, they were from a UP family, but they were brought up in the family had settled in Hyderabad. So this song, in fact, the Mukhra was written by Shankar as a dummy words. Ramaiya Vastavaiya, Ramaiya Vastavaiya. So ultimately, Shailendra said that to Raj Kapoor, and he agreed that let's retain these two lines and write ahead. That this was not supposed to be the.
This is. I find this fascinating because here is a team which has come from, virtually come from Prithvi Theatres, and there is a lot which has also come from IPTA. So, coming together of Prithvi Theatre and IPTA, and people coming from various backgrounds. A Gujarati, and you say that he was a UPI who spent part of his life, major part of his life in Andhra Pradesh, and of course there is a choreographer who's also South Indian. There is Sheila Vaz also in this, that girl who's dancing. This is. And this kind of coming together, this kind of confluence, this kind of unformed city, this formation of city initially is for me very, very, because he is also talking about an Andarun Desh, the country they've left behind. वो देश में ये देश में क्या होता है भाई?
Okay. Thank you. Juhi, would you like to, your take on this song and Raj Kapoor's movement forward?
No, very much what Madanji is saying. Earlier, in the early part of the film, Raj Kapoor has already come to this very footpath, to these very people. In fact, the community is in the shadow of the villain's mansion, Seth Sona Chand Dharmanand, I think. And he has had the kind of, nok joke that you have with people who can become friends. But basically, there is a sense of almost like finding an alternative family, particularly because Lalita Pawar, a very, very maternal figure who loves him very much, clearly, is there. She's in this song, she's in fact the only one who is accepting him and gesticulating "Maine dil tujhko diya" at the end, at a point when, because of who he has become, the woman who does love him has rejected him, Nargis. She's the voice of conscience in the film. So yes, he has been hugely accepted in this kind of family where they initially took care of him. Now he's come back to them at this point where he, in a sense, he is rejecting himself. What have I become? There is a scene just before this where he looks at the mirror and the tramp Raju is seen in the mirror and the suited and booted Raj Kapoor is seen, and he sees that I am not who I truly am. I have not, I have changed myself. So, sorry, I keep coming back to Shailendra, but I find one word and line very, very interesting in this one. Shailendra, his lyrics helped create the Raj Kapoor persona so much. There is, it's almost political for Shailendra to be innocent, to be incorruptible. And तेरी आँखों में वो दुनियादारी नहीं थी. Is a very beautiful this thing. You must not have दुनियादारी. In that sense, your hero, because of circumstances, can become a thief or a fraud or whatever. But दुनियादारी पे compromise नहीं होनी चाहिए. And he is becoming a दुनियादारी filled person, which is not the right thing to be. Shailendra is very uncompromising on that.
Absolutely. Ravi? Your
Just,
thoughts?
one thing to add. This, the urban atmosphere that we see in Raj Kapoor's films, or a lot of films in the 50s, and the theme, of course, this theme carries on till 80s, 90s even, I think, Saeed Mirza and others, So it continues through Abbas's films and other films. This tension between the urban, which is outside, but which could also be rural, even though this is very much a studio scene. But the rural is being recreated through this Okhal and Musal, and threshing that is happening. Yeah, so I was, yeah, exactly. So I was reminded of Beni Puri, who was a socialist from Bihar, who said, "Kaam karta hua wah gata tha, aur gata hua wah kaam karta tha." So this persona, right, whether peasant or worker, working while singing, is a static theme in Hindi cinema. It is, whether Raj Kapoor is a socialist or not, does not matter. His colleagues have that imagination. They are rooted somewhere. And they also represent that ethos, that your poetry will convey the work culture as well. And of course, that complaint that you belong to us, how dare you leave us like this, and go over to the other side, right, of Chandi and Sone ki Dunya and stuff like that.
World of Dunyadari.
May I just
Of course,
make
Baba.
one brief point? There are two strategies in musical terms where there is a bridge being created through alap-like sound. Initially in the voice of Lata Mangeshkar, when Nargis comes in, which is also the transition from the community to the individual. So that's a very interesting thing. You have to create a sync, and it's an impossible sync because suddenly a folk sort of energy, and through that you have to create a kind of individual pain of one girl who's actually fallen. Uh, I mean, she's sitting on the pavement. So that is one.
Well,
And
outside her school, to be fair, it's
yeah,
outside
yeah.
the school classroom.
Yeah, but the second one is a call which is given at the end in Mohammed Rafi's voice. Now, what is the major difference between the two? The difference is that in the first sort of, kind of sync which is sought to be created between the community and the individual, you will see that the alap created by Lata Mangeshkar has a resolution. It's a uske andar, in classical music we say this is uske andar, there's a sense of samit. Even though it is painful, there is a sense of samit. But when Rafi comes towards the end and he raises his voice, it is the voice of assertion and hope. And the voice it keeps going. It is open-ended. So this strategy, this musical strategy is fascinating, absolutely. So that's the brief point that I wanted to make.
That's a lovely point.
Thank you.
Amit, your thoughts on this song, Baba?
You
Anything
know,
else?
let's keep 2 or 3 things in mind. One is, like many filmmakers of his time, not all, but I'm talking about the important filmmakers. Let's begin with somebody like Shantaram or Mehboob Khan. People like these were not read. They were illiterate. But if you see, go back to Mehboob, whom does he take inspiration for Roti or for Aurat? So they were very conscious, and so was Raj Kapoor, that he always had this complex. And I have met Raj Saab over years. He had this, when he got drunk, and he was very vicious when he got drunk. This would surface once in a while. That he was, not well read, he was not familiar with the world literature. So he surrounded himself with people who were aware of all these things. So whether it was Abbas, whether it was Shailendra, unlike most songwriters of the 50s, I'm leaving the 40s and 30s aside, Shailendra is the only lyric writer, who was very well versed, not because of an ideological taint, but very well versed with Hindu mythology. So, some of his insights come from there, not overtly, because most of us are not aware of it, but he transcends that border. Ideologically, he was leftist, but that did not preclude his earlier life, where he has often said that he remembered his mother and his grandmother and his uncles and aunts who would recite this old verses. They came. He originally was from Bihar, but then he spent his childhood in Jhansi. Mathura was very little, then he moved to Jhansi. And Mathura's earlier education was in Mathura. Then he moved to Jhansi, where he got his first job also. And he was a very interesting person. And so Raj Kapoor is very conscious of this. And so, as I said, so was Mehboob, so was Shantaram. I mean, making a film like Duniya Na Mane or Padosi in 1930s was quite a radical thing for an illiterate Marathi who was not exposed to the world cinema. But if importantly, what was happening in the 50s was in 51, the first international film festival was held in Bombay. Which
52.
51,
Yeah, it was December, January. You're right.
So, and this was, Nehru was responsible for this festival. And that was the first major exposure to the neorealist cinema to a number of people. Now, a lot of Raj Kapoor's contemporaries, for example, I'd say Bimal Roy, was very deeply influenced by Disika and the other people, while Raj Kapoor was not. And interestingly, Shailendra worked both with Bimal Roy and Raj Kapoor. And you see his lyrics in Bimal Roy, they are of a different nature. And in this, Raj Kapoor's songs are quite, more, as Madan has pointed out, it talks about the two worlds and this thing.
But also romance,
Yeah, romance,
very
because
important.
the other
Bimal
point I was
Roy
trying to make was that Avara was the beginning of the Nargis Raj Kapoor romance. For the first time, they traveled together to Russia. Then, by the time of Shree 420, they were madly in love.
Absolutely. So let's have
So
the song.
that romance which comes into the songs in the picturization is Raj Kapoor. It is not so much Shailendra or Shankar Jaikishan or Satyanarayan, the choreographer.
So let's have the epitome of the romance and the third song,